All right. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. This is another incredible edition of Tech Watch. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Brought to you by NetworkProvidersInc.com. You've got a partner when it comes to strategic IT, when it comes to help desk, when it comes to everything IT. Think NetworkProvidersInc.com. When you think of the show, think of NPI, TechGuys.com. I'm Sam. Jay Harrison with me.
Hey,
Welcome
Sam.
to the show, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Are you
man.
tearing
It's
it up in tech?
beautiful, sunny spring day for me, sir.
Same here, actually. It's really nice.
But then they say the rain's coming.
Yeah, it's all right. It's spring.
I'm all good. We need the rain. Big
April
time.
showers bring May flowers.
That's the prayer for sure. But Telegram's not having April showers bringing May flowers, huh?
Now, Telegram is, interestingly enough, so this is Pavel Durov, the guy that wrote it. He said, Telegram was banned in Russia, yet 65 million Russians still use it daily via VPNs and with 50 million plus sending messages every day. The government has spent years trying to ban VPNs too. Their blocking attempts have triggered massive banking failure. Crash briefly became the only payment method available nationwide. Iran banned Telegram years ago with a similar result to Russia. The government hoped for mass adoption of surveillance messaging apps, meaning ones made by the government themselves. But mass adoption of VPNs instead. Now 50 million members of the digital resistance are in Iran, joined by 50 million more in Russia. He says, welcome back to the digital resistance, my Russian brothers and sisters. The entire nation is now mobilized to bypass these absurd restrictions. Thousands are building VPNs and proxies. On our end, we keep adapting, making Telegram harder to detect and block. Pretty interesting.
And I think that's great news on their part. I'm just saying that this battle is really the problem, though. Why do they want to shut this down? And the answer is because they're tyrannical thug governments. That's why.
Yeah, it's kind of a freedom of speech issue, I think. And we see Russia locking down more and more. They almost kind of want to disconnect from the internet, I think, or have their own internet.
It's not only a freedom of speech, but it's a freedom of association discussion too, Jay.
That's true.
Anyway, very interesting, though, and I'm just telling you right now, governments, unless they pull the plug, cannot stop people from using the internet and using certain apps, though. People are just too creative. I mean, it's kind of like the virus battles. The virus thugs want to, have viruses, and then we want to create antivirus, and, that battle's going on. The hacker battle's going on. So is this battle for access and usability and free association and free speech. And I don't think they'll ever really stop it unless they either, one, just unplug from the internet entirely, or two, just start taking people out. I mean, if you shut down somebody's finances or shut down somebody's, power, or they're going to have to go to extreme measures to stop this, Jay.
Yeah, and the internet, this is the way the internet was built, right? It was built to route around damage, and so it just routes around censorship. People just get around it. That's how it's designed.
Thank the heavens, I might add. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's great news. All right, Gmail has made a big change. I think this is weird, and I don't know why they haven't done this forever ago, Jay.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, and people are actually pretty interested in this. So Gmail, for the first time in 20 years that Gmail's been out, I think it came out in 2007, right? And we're at 2026 now. So Gmail's making a major change that millions have been asking for and waiting for. They will now allow you to change your actual Gmail address, the part before the @gmail.com, without having to create a brand new account. That means that if you've been stuck with an old or embarrassing email address from years ago, you can finally update it to something more professional and keep your emails, your contacts, your data, everything the way they are. You don't have to start another account. Even better, your old email address doesn't disappear. It remains active as an alternate address, so messages sent to either one will still come to the same inbox. There's a few limits. You can only do this once a year, and the feature's currently rolling out in the United States. To try
Why can I only do it once a year?
I think because otherwise you're just going to amass a ton of emails, right? If you could just keep changing it and keeping the old email.
Yeah, but otherwise people just keep adding email addresses, right?
Yeah, but I think this is more like for, okay, so say you had some gamer tag was your name when you were a kid, and then you go off and you say, you become an adult and you're like, hey, I need a more professional name for my thing, or you're a girl and you get married and you change your name.
Sure, there's all kinds of legitimate reasons.
Right, but it's not reasons to change it probably more often than a year. So I think this is the right approach by Google. They say you just go into their account settings, head to personal info, look for the option to update their email. And so after decades of being locked in, your Gmail identity can finally grow with you. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So now I got to discuss what I should change my email addresses to.
Well, I'm not going to give your Gmail out on the air, but I think yours is pretty good, right? I think it's
anyway. We'll talk about some of those kind of things. But it's very interesting though, and if you do have an email address for whatever reason, sometimes you might have had an email address that's a backup, and you were a certain position in a company, and then now you're at a different position, so you might want to make it either more generic or update to your new position, one or the other. But if you can do it every year, then you've at least got some, in my opinion, forward-looking flexibility. I think it's great news.
Yeah, I think it's
but
smart.
It's weird because they should have done it forever ago.
It's funny. I have a niece who created an email. She was little, like probably 9 or 10 or something, and it actually had a spelling error in it, right? But she just kept it because it was whatever. Now, you can fix it, and I think that's a good thing because she's like in her 20s now.
Yeah, if you're Elon Musk, what about this one?
Well, so Tesla, interesting. Yeah, so Elon Musk says that Tesla full self-driving, right? He kind of a little report posted this on Twitter. He said Tesla's full self-driving 5.3 million miles between accidents is their average. U.S. driving average is 660,000 miles. So that's 9 times safer, and it's only getting better. I think that's an incredible statistic.
It's a very incredible statistic. And I think right now, in all fairness, these self-driving vehicles, whether they be Uber, whether they be Waymo or whatever, part of the reason that we hear so much about them is because they're novel. So, for example, if a Waymo car stops, and then the police are, trying to do something, and the Waymo car's in the way. There was some stories about that in San Francisco and stuff.
Yeah.
We hear about it because it's just like, oh my gosh, the Waymo car is causing problems. But the problem is it's unfair because we hear about this whenever a bad thing happens. We don't hear about how many miles, the car's driving. It's fine. It's good. Same thing with kind of the cops or police in modern times. The police do millions and millions and millions and millions of interactions, and they go very well. And then we hear about one bad thing from the cops. It's like, oh man, the cops are bad guys. It isn't really true. It's unfairly represented. Our society loves the if it bleeds, it leads. And now that we can basically pop anything on X or anything in the news anytime, anywhere, whatever, we're so connected now instantly to where I think we get this unfair representation of the truth, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that I saw recently in the last week or so footage out of China where all of their taxis shut down, like everywhere on the interstate, everything, they all shut down for a little while. And people are just driving around them. The taxis just shut down in the middle of the interstate, like with their flashers on, and it's crazy. It's great footage, but it's tech. It has glitches, and you got to grow with it.
Well, and people have glitches too, though. I mean, the question is it better to have the whatever taxis all shut down like that, or is it better when an accident happens for everybody just to rubberneck and drive really slow and get all derailed and stuff?
Yeah, I'd much rather have something safely shut down than a wreck or an accident, right?
Right, or I'm just saying when you have a wreck and an accident, though, everybody's kind of rubbernecking and not really looking at the road and looking at what they're doing, and then you get all kinds of fender benders as a result of people looking back at the accident and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just saying, humans are as guilty of it as the tech is in many ways.
Absolutely.
And now we're starting to see, at least if Elon Musk's report is correct, worse from the humanoids, right?
Yeah. I mean, to say that Tesla's full self-driving is 9 times, this is with data, the millions, 5 point whatever million miles between an accident, where the average human goes about 600,000 between accidents.
Well, what also is interesting about that statistic in my mind, Jay, too, is this. What about the assisted driving? And then we have more accidents with the assisted driving. And now you kind of wonder, is inserting the human into it making it worse?
I don't know.
But it's a fair question, right?
Certainly, yeah.
All right. Anyway, ChatGPT is going under a metamorphosis, Jay? A change? Yeah, they've introduced a new, I don't know what you want to call it, pay option. ChatGPT has a new $100 plan. It targets what they call heavy coders and heavy users. but it's not their ultimate plan or anything. It's just called Pro. Details in seconds. This is Tech Watch.
Cybercrime is exploding. Take Sarah from Sweet Delights, whose world crumbled after having to close with not being able to bounce back. Small businesses are prime targets, but the right strategies can keep yours safe. Jay Hill, CEO of Network Providers, has co-authored The Cyber Playbook Simplifies Cybersecurity for Business Owners with Strategies to avoid costly breaches and fines, build a strong cyber attack response, secure your business with key protections. Cyber threats aren't slowing down, but you can stay ahead. Protect your business. Ensure its security for tomorrow. Get the Cyber Playbook today at networkprovidersinc.com/cyber-playbook or call 385-446-5500 now.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. OpenAI announced a new $100 monthly ChatGPT Pro tier, and it offers 5x more codecs and codec usage than the Plus plan does. So now you got a $20 plan, a $200 plan, and those plans remain basically available in just the same, I guess. Oh, I guess now the $200 plan offers 20x higher limits than the Plus. So you got
scales.
$100, 5 times more, $200, 20 times more, Jay.
Yeah, that scales pretty linearly. I think that, I don't know why they don't just, I guess people like these ideas of having their normal, like a base rate. They know what they're going to spend every month.
Yeah, you don't want to change it all the time and stuff. If I use ChatGPT a lot, I'm used to a $20 bill, and all of a sudden it's like $200. It's like, what?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I wonder why they don't just have people pay as you go. You could do that with APIs on different things, but
yeah,
it gets
by the
expensive.
way, ChatGPT does have a backdoor API one that you can use. I have both. I have a ChatGPT for $20 a month, which is the Plus version, I guess, or whatever now.
Right.
And then I have an AI version that goes to the backdoor, and I pay per, quote, transactional tokens on that one.
And how much does that cost about per month for you?
It's less. Probably about half.
I tried one in, this was when I was messing around with Claude in a local agent running on a thing. I thought it was very expensive. I mean, in just a day of playing with it, and this is just initialization thing, really doing no work.
It depends on what engines you're using, Jay.
Yeah, but it ended up being like $6 for the day, and I was like, dang, that's going to run into a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I use it, and I put $10, $15, $20 on mine, and it takes longer than a month for it to go away. But I don't use it for massive things. I use it for small textual things for the most part.
Yeah. If you're generating images or doing stuff like that, it certainly takes a lot more.
Then it'll eat up tokens big time. Anyway, I find it great from ChatGPT because, again, Claude had a $100, and I think it's a $125 plan. And I think this is ChatGPT's way of saying, hey, we got to play there also. And I would like to see multiple plans. And what I'd also like to see is this. If you go over, Jay, we'll just charge you the next plan up. So if I'm on the $20 plan and I go over, let them just bounce it to the 100 and not lock me down, or warn me and say, Sam,
I wouldn't want
Sam,
that.
you're gonna get bumped up to the next plan if you want to keep using it. Then I have a decision. If I'm gonna need it, I can do it. I don't care if it costs me $100 this month. I'm doing something important, or I can say no. Right?
Yeah, and I think it's going to do that anyway because it's just going to throttle you. Like, say you're on the $20 plan. I've seen this before.
But I don't want to throttle.
It's just going to say, hey, you're kind of out of tokens for today. Do you want to use it?
No, I don't want that. I want you to ask me if I want to pay more.
Yeah. It's a big
Sam,
jump, though, to go from $20 to $100.
Well, either that, you could do it that way, and then you could fill in plans in between, or you could simply say, "Hey, Sam, we'll double your token limit for another $20 this month. Do you want to pay an extra $20 and have some extra tokens?"
Yeah, I
Or
could see
whatever.
that would
There's
make
a
more
bunch
sense.
of ways they could do it. I just don't like throttling me down and then making it to where, or switching me to a less smart engine without telling me. A lot of times that's what's done too, because the older the engine, the less it costs per token. I don't know if you're
That's right,
aware
yep.
of that, but so all I'm saying is don't dumb me down without letting me know. It's like on the internet, don't restrict my bandwidth and throttle me, and I don't really know that's happening because it bugs. Now tell me, and if I don't want to pay, then I can live with the throttle. If I want to pay a little bit more to get it done, let's say I'm traveling and I need the internet. Hey, I don't care if I pay 20 more bucks. If you let me know and I agree to it, boom, done. You make money and I win. Let's go. I mean, they got to make that stuff more flexible.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right. Anyway, I found that interesting from ChatGPT. Thought it was pretty cool. Jay, are you a big gamer?
I wouldn't say that, no.
Okay, well then this job isn't for you, buddy.
The FAA running.
Yes,
See,
sir.
I read this story, right? And I'll let you cover the story, and then, it's,
All right, from gaming console to control tower, FAA makes new hiring pitch. In a new, quote, federal hiring campaign, the Trump administration is calling on young gamers to consider careers as a traffic controller, because you know what? They're having a dearth of traffic controllers. There's not enough of them and everything else. And they want to try to solve the nationwide shortage by asking gamers. Why are they picking gamers? I assume because they're very familiar with, using a joystick or controlling this and that and making sure that things obey remotely. And, maybe they have the hand control and the eye-hand coordination and all these other different things. But that's the latest pitch. And so I just thought if you were a gamer, Jay, you could get a ripping job as a traffic controller, buddy.
Yeah, and I guess I can kind of see, hand-eye coordination, monitoring several screens, but I think a lot of that's communication thing. I don't think the air traffic controller guys are sitting in there with like a PlayStation
No, Jay,
controller
but
in their
listen.
hand.
But if you're an accomplished gamer, you're pretty smart because you're pretty technical. And to be a good gamer, you got to have a lot of those things. You can't be intimidated by a lot of that, or you can't get that done. How do you trash talk your buddy on the audio channel and hook up all the different things and use the joystick and hand-eye court, do all these things? If you're a good gamer, you got to be somewhat technical. And they're just saying, hey, that means you have the smarts. It also means most of the gamers right now are just kind of kicking back, not working.
Yeah, they,
like, hey,
they definitely need a job. I like this idea.
Let's bring these people in because they're pretty smart, and a lot of them could probably benefit from a less gaming and more productive. Might as well get paid for some stuff. Now, is it the exact same? Of course not. But maybe a lot of the same requirement. Those people could, if you can learn all the details of gaming quickly, you could certainly learn this quickly if you choose to.
I just think that it's not going to be as fun, Sam.
Well, no, but you get paid though. So I mean, if you walk away with
gotta-
a check every day, it's not as fun, but at least you're getting paid. It's like it's
That's
fun
true.
enough, maybe.
They got to gamify it though. They got to set up like you get so many points for every successful landing, and that way they can compete. And I think then you're on the right track. You can get a lot of these gamers that way. Have a leaderboard who has the less amount of wrecks.
Dude, come on. Yeah, it's like the latest sports trend.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm a traffic controller, and I've gone so many days with
those guys are competitive. They would love that
No
stuff.
mishaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, very interesting. I don't know where this will go, but I find it fascinating to say the least. Jay, do you think this is true? Investigative reports suggest that this guy, Adam Back, is possibly the Bitcoin creator. We've always heard it was Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever that created Bitcoin, and no one knows, and it's this so-called Japanese name that's not a real person or whatever, and da-da-da. And they've gone back and forth. Now they say they've got some pretty hard evidence that it's Adam Back. What do you think this is right?
I don't know, but I know whoever it is sitting pretty. They estimate their fortune to be at about $70 billion, $70 billion.
So let me understand this. The
If you're
blockchain is
Satoshi
supposed to create
Nakamoto.
transparency, right?
Right?
And if you got transparency, then how does this Nakamoto and or Adam, how do these guys, control all their money and remain anonymous and stuff?
It creates transparency so you can see the account. That's how we know how much Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, how much they have. We also know that's a pseudonym, so it could be this Adam guy. So that's how we can know what's in his account, like the balance of the account. But it is anonymous in the idea that if you don't know who that account is linked to, You just don't know. A wallet, I mean, I can have a wallet on there, and I can have whatever money in it, and if you don't know who that owns, it's still, there is some, anonymous nature to it.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm still going to go back to at some point, just follow me. At some point, the money's got to translate into buys and sells that relate to humans.
That's true, and that is the best way to de-anonymize those transactions. But if you're not spending it, if you're just letting it sit there and you're just holding on and seeing how it's going to go, there's no data to go by. And I don't know that there's been very many transactions of that account. It may even be none. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm just finding this very weird.
I
don't
remember,
know if we know the guy. Does it even matter that we know, though, Jay? That everybody wants to know. Do we have to know? Does it matter that we know?
It matters because we want to know who this guy is.
Why?
Because
Why?
It's an incredible technology. Everybody wants to know who invented it.
You don't need to know who I am.
I know.
I'm
sure he feels that way, actually.
I'm loving not being known because otherwise I'm going to be famous. My whole life's going to suck and it's going to change and I can't live a normal life. You're not doing that to me.
And everybody's going to want $1 from you. I remember when Bitcoin came out, you could buy a Bitcoin easily for $1. You could have bought 100 Bitcoins for $100. In fact, there was even this Bitcoin faucet. You could go, it was a little website. You could go up there and they would just give you some Bitcoin because they were trying to get people to use it and whatever. And they would just drip out a little bit of Bitcoin. You could just ask for it. That is not the case today, and it is very valuable. And this guy is sitting on
it's perceived valuable. It's really the same zeros and ones that it always was.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, so is the American dollar, right?
It's fake too. You're right.
It's just about your percent. I mean, even with gold, I saw this funny meme, and it was like there's this huge asteroid somewhere, and it's mostly gold out in space, and people are like, "Oh, if we got this asteroid, it would just make everybody rich." And somebody else commented, and they said, "No, it would just make everybody poor. Gold would be worthless."
If gold's everywhere, it wouldn't be what it is. The uniqueness about gold, different than say Bitcoin and or the U.S. dollar and all that kind of stuff, is that there's a natural reality of intrinsic value, meaning it's rare enough to have value, but not so rare that you can't get your hands on it. It's got, when you choose gold and then you match it with silver, they've got this intrinsic values kind of properties that say it's portable, it's durable, it's measurable, it's controllable, it's
useful.
All these different things that make it the intrinsic value that it is. And, you could do that with a group of things, like you could do that with wheat and barley and gold and silver. And I mean, that's the best, if you really want my opinion, that you could get is if you created a whole basket of needful things, then you would create kind of the best currency kind of all. Hey, this amount of gold and this amount of silver is worth this amount of wheat or grain or whatever different commodities you put in there. But the broader you make that, the more stable it becomes.
That's
in terms
true.
Of tradability and et cetera, right?
In the case of Bitcoin, there is some tangible assets that have gone into it as far as heat and power and electricity and things to mine this. And so there is some of that. I agree that, if it falls, like, for
there's
example,
a lot of that. It's just that if we have an EMP, then I can't use it.
Right. You may be locked away, but it doesn't mean that it's gone. I mean, some people have thrown their computer out and realized that the hard drive had 10 Bitcoins on it, and they're like, dang, and it's sitting in a landfill somewhere. There's a guy in England, and they won't let him dig it up.
That's an individual basis, but if you really had an EMP, I don't know if it'd be gone or not.
Right.
It's hard to kind of know what. It depends on what control, how centralized whatever control becomes, right?
You also have this thing on the horizon. Google says that by perhaps 2029, if quantum computing happens, they may be able to break the encryption on Bitcoin, and that would make it all completely worthless.
Yeah. And then they got, hey, when are we going to have quantum computing? They've been talking about it forever, right?
Yeah, it's always over the horizon like flying cars.
Yeah. By the way, would you get a flying car, Jay?
Absolutely.
I would not.
I'm on board with that, man. Especially a self-driving flying car that only wrecks every 5.3 million miles.
Okay, they didn't say they could fly and do that. But I would not buy a flying car. I mean, I just believe you think about how many accidents happen with.
That's because Sam doesn't have a commute. I have a commute, and it would drop my commute from 23 minutes to like 4 minutes.
Well, that assumes that your flying car goes really fast.
True, but it's a straight line, and it gets over traffic.
So it would get better for sure. The reason I'm not for them is I look at how often small planes crash with even trained pilots, and I think give everybody one of those suckers. You're going to have planes falling out of the sky or cars falling out of the sky everywhere.
Citation
Hey,
needed.
man, let's talk about astronauts and email, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do it on the next Tech Watch.